today with Dr. Mark Thompson, who is the program director for the Professional and Technical Writing program here at San Jose State University. So thank you, Mark, for giving us your time today.
Of course.
So I just wanted to ask you today, why is it so important for students to learn how to prepare presentations and deliver presentations?
There's not a lot of places where this skill is explicitly taught. It's just sort of an assumption that you would pick it up. But increasingly, these skills are things that employers are going to expect you to be able to stand up, give a good presentation, or maybe they'll say, hey, at the meeting today, can you tell us what the project is and what can we expect? I think so. I mean, at any point, you're going to have to be able to communicate to other people on your team what you're working on, what the status is. Having a nice, concise report on something that's going on is going to make you beloved by your coworkers.
A lot of times with that presentation, they bring a slideshow with them, like maybe PowerPoint. Right. How is that writing different from writing, say, a report or a paper for class?
We know conversation is more simple than, complicated things that you would write in reports. The trick is, how do you adapt your writing brain into more of a more conversational tone? I simplify my sentences, making it clear kind of where I am in a talk, going back and repeating points. Because if you were reading a report and you get confused, you just turn it back a few pages and you can keep reading. Whereas if you are giving a talk and you lose your audience, they can't rewind your conversation back 2 minutes.
So would you say that the slideshow itself is page markers for where you've been in your topic?
Yeah, at least my theory in presentations is your presentation, it complements what you are talking about, but it's not competing with what you're talking about. And by that, I mean, if you give a talk and you have a bunch of writing that's up on your presentation, people aren't going to listen to what you say because they're going to be too busy reading your slide. The trick of a good presentation is sort of knowing when you want people to look at the slides and when you want people listening to you. And you do that by sort of, making it clear, like, okay, I'm going to put up a slide that doesn't have much on it, and you're going to listen to me talk for a little bit. And now that I want you to look at my data or whatever, I'm going to bring the information up, and then talk about it.
What are some of the most common mistakes or errors that you see with people's slideshow presentations?
Well, I think that the biggest violation I see is that people use PowerPoints as sort of a crutch for their talk, as opposed to, as a tool to help be understood better. So they put down every single thing that they're saying on the slide, and they're basically reading the slide. It's an indicator that you haven't really had time to practice.
Makes it pretty boring for the audience.
And it's really boring for the audience, and they're going to be reading your slides on top of it. And sometimes people even will give you a printout of all of their slides at the beginning of a talk, and now you don't know whether to listen to the person talking or look at all the slides. You might as well just give a handout and not even bother giving a talk if that's what you're going to do.
Exactly. If Dr. Mark Thompson were to write a book called Rules for Slideshow Presentations, what would be the top 3 rules that you would emphasize in said book?
First, it's just you need to have a presentation that complements your talk, that kind of helps drive your points home, but doesn't compete with what you're saying. And that can be if you put up crazy pictures, you think they're being funny, you're going to lose your audience, basically. Be concise. I'm big on concision. People don't want to read a whole bunch on a big screen, in the middle of a talk. So instead of having complete sentences, definitely just have bullet points as kind of a reference point, a launching out point to, larger topics that you can talk about. And then another thing I would say is people have a tendency to treat images like ornaments, just to decorate. That's distracting as well. Like I said, any sort of visuals that you use should be in support of what you're saying, not just something to stick up there because there was an empty space on your slide.
Thank you so much for sharing. Again, I really appreciate your time, and hopefully this will help students become better at presenting, both here at San Jose State University and when they go back out into the workforce.
Great. Happy to help.